Good morning and welcome to Growing with the Griffies. Today, I want to talk to you about breastfeeding. But first, I want to congratulate my cousin on having her latest addition, baby boy number 4, Jakai. He is so handsome and just so special, and I am just so happy that she got through everything and brought this beautiful little boy into the world. She's also a mom who breastfeeds. Now, there are different ways to breastfeed. So, some women, they say, breastfeeding isn't for me, or how do I know I'm going to produce? Different things like that. Some women say, I just can't see having a baby just attached to me all the time. So, like her, she is a mom who pumps. And you can start this from the beginning. They try to encourage you to start off with, latching a baby onto the breast. Now, it might be a little bit easier to do that when you have, for the colostrum, because the colostrum is really thick. It's almost like a syrup, like a carob syrup, if you know what that is. It's really thick and it's condensed, but that gives the baby like this supercharged boost, and it gives them everything that they need. So in the beginning, when you're at the hospital and you're wondering, I don't see any milk coming out, and because it's really thick and it's not a lot. Like the little baby spoons. Literally, if you fill up like a little bitty baby spoon, and the baby, whether you hand express it out into the spoon, or if you don't want to latch baby on, or if you latch baby on, that's all they're getting, and it's completely fine. It's all that they need. So don't let anyone convince you, if you're not planning on bottle feeding, or giving formula, that you're not making enough, because just that little bit actually does the trick, because your milk doesn't really come in for about 3 to 5 days, like fully. So those first few days, it really is enough for them. Unless there's something alarming and you need to check with your doctor, if they feel that, the baby isn't peeing or pooping enough, because that's your indicator. If they're having wet diapers and poopy diapers, in those first couple of days before your milk comes completely in, and that's fine. But if their diapers are dry, if their eyes look sunken, or if they're jaundiced, different things like that, of course, listen to your doctor. And if you need to supplement at that time, then do so, because we want that baby to be healthy. Whether you breastfeed or bottle feed or give formula, whatever you choose to do is your decision. First off, for myself, I have 5 children, and I breastfed them all. In the beginning, I was just like, oh goodness, I know this is the best thing, but I really didn't want to put baby to my breast, but I did. And no, it was not a cakewalk. He did, latch on, and I had to kind of, figure out how to get him on there correctly so there wouldn't be any pain. And once I was able to do that and he was able to get a good latch, it took some trying. Then he was good, and so was I. A couple of things that are your best friends, they'll give it to you at the doctor if you actually ask for it. They have like these little packets, or they might even give you, a little nice little tube like this. And it's the HPA lanolin from Lanosh, and it's supposed to soothe and protect sore and cracked nipples. I know, calm down, cracked nipples, and sore, but it does happen. Like I said, I'm a mother of 5. I'm currently breastfeeding now. My 13-month-old, yes, and yes, he has teeth, 8 of them, and he's had them since he was about 4 months. So it was no, oh, get that baby off, what have you. But I'll get back to that. But this is great. And then if you don't even have that, cocoa butter, not cocoa butter, shea butter, something I've used. Coconut oil is something that I've also used. Vaseline, I've also used that, or whatever. And you can keep it on or you can wipe it off. This one right here is actually pretty cool, because it's flavorless, so I was able to actually keep it on without having to wipe it off with a baby wipe or anything before I fed baby. But before, in the past, they had some different kinds, and it had like a little taste, or it was kind of medicated, so baby didn't want that. I have my breast pump here, and I actually started off pumping pretty early. I have my breast pump here. It's all beat up and old. It's actually 12 years. It'll be 12 years old, but it's lasted me through baby number 5. This is a Medela. The pumping style backpack version. It has like the little tubing and everything. And I'll actually show you that. So, it has the tubing. You just put that in. And then, like I said, this is an old version, so they have better ones now and automated. This is the pump. And you just plug that into there. And, put it over your nipple and everything like that. Of course, braless and everything. Have everything centered in the middle, and you just turn it on. And it goes really slow, so don't. And then like the milk will collect in here first, so when it's colostrum, you'll see like little droplets or whatever, and they'll be kind of thick, and sometimes they really don't move down further. You kind of have to tap it or shake it to kind of get that out in there. So it's a little harder, and you might have more waste using the pump in the beginning. So that's why they usually say to put the baby to breast, at least for those days, or hand express. And they have videos which shows you how to massage and how to hand express. And you can put it like in you can ask them for like a little silicone cup or dropper, or you can even put it like on one of those little baby spoons, and the baby can just kind of lap it up, and that'll be fine for the baby in the those first couple of days. So I also have, for some people, I know you're saying like my nipples aren't, they're irregular, or they might be inverted, or I just don't feel like feeling that pain. This is something I actually never tried until this time around with my baby. This is actually a nipple shield, and you see it has the little holes. Just it mimics how your natural nipple is, like with the little holes and everything. And you just place it over, and then the baby latches, so that gives some type of comfort, some type of barrier, so that you're not feeling like that tight clamp. So that definitely does help, and it'll prevent you from getting those cracks or bites if that's something, if your baby is not latching well or pulling off. Some babies, they don't get a good latch, and they're kind of, on the nipple like this, and then that'll cause, that pain, because they really should be back. Say if this is the areola, they should be, back this far to meet the areola and have some of that in their mouth. Because if they don't, then it can pinch and kind of hurt, and that's what people are talking about. But if they're on there, then you just really feel too much pain. In the beginning, while you're at the hospital, you might feel some pain in your uterus, actually, because the baby does an awesome job when they're pulling that milk out. They're actually contracting and shrinking your uterus back down to its normal shape. So you'll feel that. And it actually does it on its own after you've had the baby as well. But if you're breastfeeding, it does, it does that. Let's see. Something else. Some people don't have an automatic pump, an electric pump, and mine is like a double pump. They also have hand pumps. Now this one right here, I actually got through Amazon, and it works through suction. So you actually just, put it on the breast, and then you squeeze it. And if it's, let's see if it'll work. If it's on skin, you see that, like how it kind of collapses in. If it's on skin and it stays stuck. So the milk, you'll just see it just kind of pouring into there. And I actually like that. Another thing, let's see, milk collection cups. Now this is something I didn't have either. It actually came with these breast shields that I got. Milk collection cups. So it has like a little hole here, and those like little breast pads that if you leak milk, and people are saying, oh, you put them in there. But I actually never liked those. One, because you're losing all of that milk, and you can't squeeze it out, you can't reuse it, you're just throwing it away, right? So the thing about breast or breastfeeding, they both leak at the same time, even if the baby is only on one. So you can put this inside of your bra and over your nipple, and it'll catch whatever milk leaks out free flow on the other side. And the good thing is you can pour it in a bottle, or you can, if the baby allows it, my baby actually did, you can kind of pour it into their mouth, or you can use it to put in, just add to your milk storage bags if you're going to start collecting, or you can add it to a bottle, and then just kind of put it in the refrigerator for later. So like I said, I like those. The only thing is, make sure you don't bend over. Make sure you bend down when you have them on. I've used them while I've been outside, mowing the grass and things like that, or cleaning up, and I forgot and just kind of bent over, and then the milk kind of spilled out a little bit. But they actually aren't. I'll show you. They aren't really bulky, like, because you look at them and you're like, oh, they're gonna add a bunch extra. But as you can see, it didn't add too much extra from this side to this side. So not too bad at all, right? So when it comes to breastfeeding, they don't tell you that you should be pumping or breastfeeding. Well, they may tell you you should be pumping or breastfeeding every 2 hours. They say on demand, but sometimes we have babies who sleep maybe 4 to 6 hours at a time, especially newborns. And they tell you, oh, you need to wake up baby. That's totally up to you. If your baby's having a problem with, their weight or something like that, if they were a little smaller or what have you, they may have you wake them up. But I feel like let a baby sleep, and sometimes it's hard to wake those babies up, and they'll get at the breast, and then they'll be frustrated at the breast because they're tired, or they'll just fall asleep on you, and then you'll be frustrated, and you'll just have milk, kind of flowing from everywhere. But I will say that I do exclusively breastfeed, and I pump, in between. So I'll start breastfeeding the baby, and then either on the other side, once you kind of get a handle on things, you can pump on the other side. They do have hands-free bras, or like some things I like to do is, I'll like just kind of put my arm there or something like that, cradle baby in the other arm, and, latch him on to the breast, and, kind of have his legs on my lap, and, kind of pump, so that you're getting some extra milk on the side, and you have that ready. Or you can switch from one side to the other. And then something else that I like to do if I don't have my pump on me is I will like kind of put pressure on, over my nipple. And that actually keeps the milk from leaking. So you can either do it with, your fingertips. You can do it with the palm of your hand. You can do it, my go-to is using probably like my little below my wrist, because I'll do like that, and then I'll just cradle baby and feed the baby. So that milk, have to put a little bit of pressure though, so that milk doesn't spray out, because it can spray, or it'll just kind of dribble down, and you don't want that. Also, sometimes when you're out or you're doing things, if a baby cries or if it's time for you to breastfeed, you'll have this kind of letdown feeling. And the letdown is when your milk is getting ready to spray. So to give you a little warning. Now, some people say they don't feel it, and that's why a lot of people wear like those milk collection cups or breast shields. But me, I've always got an indicator. It kind of feels like when like the wind blows and your nipples kind of get, firm or erect a little bit. Or you're, braless or something like that, and they're kind of like firm. It feels like that to me. Some people get a tingling sensation. Some people even get a burning sensation. Now, I had never heard about that before, but I guess as you have more babies or whatever it is, your body just feels things a little more intensely. So mine actually do have like a tingling slash, burning, not really like where it causes pain. Little feeling, little indicator, and I go, oh, okay, it's time for me to, put that pressure. So if I'm out, you don't want to just be out just holding your breast. So, I'll like just take the palms of my hand and kind of, fold my hands over my like this, so people don't really know what's going on. But, sometimes I might be feeding a baby and I'll just do like this or do like that. And it's, it's no worries. Just kind of do that, put that pressure, and hold that milk in. I've been out, with my clothes on, completely braless and things like that, and with like a nice dress on when you have the back out and you can't, and maybe the front is low cut or what have you, and I haven't leaked, haven't messed up any dresses or anything like that. Now, in the beginning, yes, I did try the the breast pads, because that was 12 years ago, so we there was nothing, no videos to kind of tell you what to do. So I did things like, I wore those. But then, like I said, I quickly didn't like them wasting all that milk. So I kind of developed that technique on my own, realizing just doing it and realizing like, oh, the milk didn't come out. hey, let me test this out. Let me ask my cousin who I was just congratulating. Let me ask her if this works for her, because we have tried it all. Like, when you forget those little shields, or you forgot about it, you have one of those little liners in your purse. Like, she's like, hey, I even put one of those, or I've done it, or have you tried that? Whatever it is, just to keep your clothes from being wet. And then she did say it worked for her, and a few other friends said that it worked for them as well. And some said they just can't feel their letdown, so they just never know. So they leak and they might have a wet shirt, so they have to wear those breast pads, or the milk collection cups, like I said, are the best. I know I kind of just went on and on, but really, I just wanted to say, just, you know, breastfeeding, feed that baby as they need it, and then every 2 hours, because you definitely want to keep that supply up. Breastfeeding is supply and demand. So if you don't require your body to make that, to make the milk, if you're not taking the milk out, then it'll say, oh, my body doesn't, the baby doesn't need any milk right now. So it might take longer to store and build up, versus if you're pulling that milk out every 1.5 2 hours. And I know that sounds like a lot. Then your body will just kind of know what to do. And then my thing is, what I always like to do to get a supply going was in the beginning, because your baby only needs an ounce, a couple of ounces in the beginning. So if you're getting, say if the baby only needs maybe an ounce, right? And you're producing, and you get 2 ounces of milk, then that's 1 ounce of milk that you can put up in the bottle, or a milk storage bag, or even one of these things that you can ask for. They give them at the doctor. You can you know, put the milk in there, because these are like 1 ounce increments, and they give you these when you first have the baby if you ask for them. So you can even put the milk in there, and then put it in the refrigerator, add to it. And then I usually like freezing in 4 ounce increments, because that's usually about the amount that my babies take in a bottle feeding after they gotten a little older. It's 4 ounces. And then once you thaw it, you can use it as needed. It's not something that needs to get thrown away. Like I'm told with formula, when you mix that up, you can't just leave it for hours and hours. So that is another benefit of the breast milk. But so I use that time in the beginning, in that first month, to kind of start stockpiling my milk after my milk came in about the 4-day mark, typically. And I would just go from there, just putting up that milk every time I would, breastfeed the baby. And then after that, I would, pump and then put the milk up, because I knew I had extra in there, and I wanted my body to kind of produce a little bit more and have a good supply going, so that I wouldn't feel discouraged once the baby started drinking more and I didn't have more, or I had to wait for my body to adjust to making more frequently. So didn't have to do that. So I avoided that by doing those things. And I have this right here. It is really old. It's starting to bend on the corners. I've had this probably since my first child. Storing breast milk safely. So it actually says 4 to 6 hours in a warm room, 79 degrees. It can, sit out 10 hours in a cool room, 66 degrees to 72 degrees Fahrenheit. For 24 hours in an insulated cooler with an ice pack. 8 days in the refrigerator at 32 to 39 degrees. I mean, who really knows how cold their refrigerator is? I don't, but I assume. 2 weeks in the freezer section of a one-door refrigerator. 3 to 6 months in the freezer section of a two-door refrigerator. 6 to 12 months in a 0-degree deep freezer. So usually I put my breast milk in the freezer, and actually I put the milk in and I lay it flat. That way it's thin, versus when you put it this way, it'll expand out and it'll be like a big clump, and it takes longer for it to thaw. So I usually lay it flat in the regular freezer, single door freezer, for it to you know for it to freeze. And then I take it and then I put it in like a big Ziploc bag like this, or something like that. And then I put it in the in the freezer. Put you on pause for a second, because I actually went to go get them out so I can show you, and then I label them as well. So see that? And I just usually do them like that so they're nice and flat and easier to thaw. And then just label and then put the baby's date. I think it is a good idea, and I use a Sharpie to put it on there because pens sometimes they really don't work, especially if they're wet, if your hands are damp or something. The reason why I say go ahead and put your baby's name on it or the date or something like that is because I have actually had breast milk in the deep freezer that's kind of been down in there because it can last so long. And when I had my last baby, I actually had, as I breastfed longer, I breastfed for 20 months with my little girl. And so I actually had, breast milk in there frozen still, and I didn't know how long, it was in there. So I had to kind of calculate up, like, well, how long was it from the last time that I pumped till I had this new baby? And I actually ended up thawing one of those old packages of milk, a couple of them, to see if they were still any good. And surprisingly, they actually were. And they had been in there about 18 months. And so pretty good. This was a long video. I have some more to add. I will come back with more things to add later. I didn't want this to be too lengthy. So there will be a part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or what have you to breastfeeding. But I just wanted to do that today. And, have a good one and enjoy your breastfeeding journey. Thank you. Remember to subscribe and click that bell below.